welcome to a brand new year and a brand new edition of It's All Relative. I'm Josh.
And I'm Ange.
And we're starting the first show off of the new year with nothing but good vibes, good energy. Angela, can you feel it?
I feel it.
All right. Joining us today, life coach and owner at Becoming Daffodils Life Coaching, Oracle card reader, BODi Coach. Welcome to the show, Cristin Roe.
Welcome, Cristin.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
Yes, thank you so much. We appreciate you giving us some of your time and agreeing to come on. It's all relative. Like I said, we greatly appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I love talking about it.
That's exciting because that's what we want. We want people who want to come on and want to talk. So I did mention earlier that this is the start of a new year. So before we dive into really the meat and bulk of the show, I wanted to quickly go over a few trivia questions, all pertaining to the past year, 2023. Kind of loosen everything up, if that's okay with you, too.
Sure. Okay with me.
Just a few simple questions. We'll probably let Cristin answer first on all these since she's the guest, Angela.
Fair.
But all right, let me ask you both real quick. What was the most streamed song of 2023? Was it Anti-Hero by Taylor Swift, Flowers by Miley Cyrus, or Kill Bill by SZA?
I'm going to go Miley Cyrus.
I'm going Taylor Swift.
Okay. Cristin, you are correct.
Really?
So,
Oh, my
yes.
God.
I'm redeeming myself. I did trivia last week, and it was video games, and totally
love
blew
trivia,
it.
too.
Totally blew it.
Oh, I was just going to ask, are you good at video game questions? No. Okay. Next question. What was the most streamed, or excuse me, who was the most streamed artist of 2023? Was it Taylor Swift, Drake, or Bad Bunny?
I'm going to go
Cristin.
Taylor Swift.
I'm going to go with that, too. I don't even know if I know Bad Bunny, if I'm being honest.
That's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
Then I'm embarrassed, too.
No. You both are correct. It is Taylor Swift.
Woohoo.
That was good.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yes. All right. What was the highest grossing movie of 2023? Was it The Little Mermaid, Oppenheimer, or Barbie?
Oh, Barbie, maybe.
I'm going to go with Barbie. Maybe the Little Mermaid in second.
Okay,
Or
well,
did you not do that? Did you not?
no, I didn't. But you both are correct. Barbie was the correct answer.
It was a good movie, I'm sorry to say.
I didn't see it,
I enjoyed it.
but I will say this. I dressed up as Walk of Shame Barbie for Halloween.
Nice.
It was a good time.
Shame Barbie.
Nice. I never saw that movie either, so I was surprised actually that was the highest grossing movie of the past year. But I knew as soon as I saw it too. I remember you saying, Angela, that you saw it. So.
Yeah, I won tickets off the radio, so I took my daughter. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
And you did say, right, that it wasn't it wasn't what you expected.
It was an unexpected surprise, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Let's move on. Who was the best-selling author of 2023? Was it J.K. Rowling, James Patterson, or Colleen Hoover?
James Patterson.
I'm going to go with Hoover.
Okay. Angela, you are correct. Colleen Hoover. Do you know who she is?
Honestly?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I was just
I
asking.
just know that J.K. Rowling's and the other one seemed to be more like in the past. So.
I don't know. I think James Patterson is still very
He is,
present.
but I don't know if he's got anything new out.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
I don't know. And actually, I think I forgot the score, or if we were keeping track of who was winning, but not that it
it's
really
3-2.
matters. But, okay. So then last question, real quick. What was the most viewed podcast of 2023? Was it the Serial Killers podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience, or It's All Relative podcast?
Sorry, guys. Going Rogan.
I have to go Rogan too, and it's so sad.
No, you're good. You both are correct. Rogan is the man. So,
But I go, it's all relative in two.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Good
number
call.
2.
I appreciate that. All right, cool. So good job. I mean, that was a quick little wrap of some news and whatnot of 2023. Angela, was there anything else that you wanted to quickly add?
Oh, I just wanted to throw out, there was a lot of celebrity deaths out there, and I know we didn't talk about it in any of the other shows, but to name a few, Susan Somers, Jerry Springer, Jimmy Buffett, Matthew Perry, Josh.
Yeah.
That's a tough
Josh
one.
is a Friends fan, and that was a good one. Lisa Marie Presley, Bob Barker, Tina Turner, and Richard Belzer, which is Detective Munch, if nobody knows that, from CSI.
Oh, yeah.
That was a shocker for me.
I'm still
know
having
why.
a problem
Wait,
with
no.
Betty White.
I think not. You said CSI? I think that that's SVU.
I'm SVU, sorry. Yeah. Doi.
Yeah, no. I didn't know that,
But
though.
yeah,
I didn't know
Detective
about that.
Munch.
Okay, right on. All right, let's move on. Yeah?
Moving on.
Okay. So, Cristin, you were recommended to us through Laura Calabrese. So, we wanted to quickly shout out Laura and get her name on the airwaves.
Laura Calabrese.
So, thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Laura. Stranger girl.
So, Cristin, you are the owner of Becoming Daffodils Life Coaching. Can you talk to us a little about your background and some life experiences and choices that led you to the path of becoming a life coach?
Absolutely. I just celebrated my 1-year anniversary
Oh,
of
congratulations.
my life coaching
Happy
business.
anniversary.
Thank you. So 24 years ago, I became a new mom. And with that came a lot of anxiety. And with the anxiety came sickness. I ended up being diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. And as I went to my doctor, he looked at all my blood work and stuff, and he said, I'm looking at your blood work, you look fine, but you're telling me how sick you are. I'm going to recommend a coaching program to you. And so 24 years ago, I did this program called the Midwest Center for Stress and Anxiety, and it was different than any therapy I had ever done. There were therapeutic sessions, but then she would have a group session, and then you had homework. And it was all about looking at how negative you were. And I never knew how negative I was. I had no idea how it was impacting my life. And then there were lots of other things that she talked about, some nutrition stuff and different things that all of a sudden started to unravel some things for me. And I started to see life from a completely different perspective. So that was 24 years ago. I continued down the journey reading self-help books, but not necessarily applying any tools. Mm-hmm. I'd read the book and I'd say, wow, that sounds like a great idea. And then I wouldn't do it. I would find reasons to not journal. I would find reasons to not exercise. I would find reasons to not turn my negative thoughts around. Because when you're talking with your friends, it's very easy to commiserate.
Right.
It's a totally different thing to co-elevate.
So true.
Yeah, so I wasn't applying the tools. 3 years ago, I met a coach. Again, through the internet. He was a hot-looking dude, and that's probably what drove me to him. And he was doing this program called 75 Hard. And I looked at the list of requirements, which are 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes each in duration. 1 must be outside regardless of the weather.
Oh.
No alcohol. You have to choose a diet that is going to meet your goals. No cheat meals. Read 10 pages a day and drink a gallon of water a day. And at first glance, I looked at the list and I went, ooh, that's hard. I don't want to do that. I have to give up too much. And I wasn't a drinker, and I drank a fair amount of water, and I was on a gluten-free diet for my guts. And so most of it wasn't hard. That second workout was what really caught me. I was like, wow, an hour and a half a day, that's a lot. Mm-hmm. But I knew I had some fitness goals that I wasn't achieving because I had this limiting mindset of I'm only willing to give it 25 minutes. I'm not willing to go to the gym. I'm not willing to do this. I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to give up chocolate. I'm not willing to give up things. And in that year, that calendar year, I had lost 2 dogs and my mom.
Oh.
And so I looked at myself in the mirror that morning while I was brushing my teeth, and I said, no, this is hard. Life is hard.
Yeah.
How much harder could this be? So I took on the challenge. And it was 75 days of all of that stuff. And then they had a Live Hard program, which was a year, where you cycle in and out. And it becomes second nature. It becomes integrated. It becomes a part of you. And through meeting my coach, and then I completed the program, he said, I'm opening a coaching program. I want you to teach for me. I was like, oh, God. Like, who am I? What do you want me to do? Mm-hmm. And he said, you have a lot of experience with narcissism and pathological liars and and negativity in your life, and I want you to write about that. So I started to write about it, and then he took a different path. He ended up doing business coaching. And so I had written this program, and I had worked with a couple of people that he knew, and he said, no, you have to launch. You have to do this. So that's what inspired me to do it. So I wrote it's a 6-step but 12-week program.
Wow.
That helps people transform their lives from the lies we've been told, and our limiting beliefs and our core wounds and lots of different things that hold us back from who we truly are.
Right. The negative energy or negative thinking can be super heavy, right?
Yeah.
Can you kind of define or explain exactly what a life coach is or does?
Sure. So for my own personal experience, I've been to many different therapists over the years. Mm-hmm. And I found that they would say, how does that make you feel? Right? And that's great. It's great to express that. I find that coaching is more, how do you want to feel? Let's figure out what's blocking you from that. Mm-hmm. Let's pick some aligned action steps, and let's actually make it happen. So it's a little bit different. It's more tool-orientated. It's more goals-orientated. It's not just, I'm going to express my negative thoughts in an hour in a safe environment with a therapist. It's, I'm going to dissect them a little bit. I'm going to reframe them a little bit. So it's a little bit more than that. There are a lot of therapists now who are doing more of that in-depth work. Mm-hmm. But back when I was doing it, there wasn't. It was just literally talk therapy. And you left there not necessarily feeling a whole lot better, not with a goal in mind, not with homework to go home and practice. So I found coaching was a little bit more do the work.
Right. I know for myself, I have gone through therapy in the past, and I kind of understand and felt maybe the same way that you were explaining, in that it almost felt useless. You know what I'm saying? Because it was very mundane, the same.
You get to like month 3 and you're like, I could do this with a friend almost.
Yeah, a lack of maybe the relationship or closeness or caring, what have you.
Accountability.
Yes, that for sure, because it was just very check, 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 check. See you next week.
Yeah.
So I know that a lot of people that I've come across throughout my life, they have their own thoughts and opinions about therapy, but a lot of them don't necessarily trust that route or therapy because of those reasons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And your therapist, I mean, I have a therapist now. I work with a therapist. But they're only as good as the truth you tell them.
That's
and
true.
And if you don't realize, some of the underlying factors, if you're not digging into it a little bit, you can only go just so far.
Very true. Your current client list, you working with current clients? You have?
Yes.
Okay. How is the success rate?
So again, it's all in how you apply it.
Okay.
But we just had our 1-year anniversary party, and we had a big jar with wins in it.
Awesome.
And it was fun to watch the girls, predominantly women is who's been drawn to me.
Okay.
And to watch them drop their wins. I had 2 women who created new businesses. One's an international business. She was already in real estate. She created it's called Remotely, where you can have virtual assistants. I had another girl, she started her fitness company. So she's training people locally. And she just expanded and hired a nutritionist. I had another woman who, she's always wanted to do it, but this was the year that she ran for county legislator and won.
Wow.
So the wins were huge. And then there was also small wins, right? Smaller, right? I have a teacher. She was in class one day, and she saw a girl in the hallway who was having a panic attack. And she was able to walk up to her and say, come with me, let's go to a private place, look me in the eye, and let's do a breathing technique that I learned. And she watched the girl calm down in 4 breaths. And she said, my favorite comments are, this shit works.
Yeah.
And it's like to see them see that, It's so cool. I had another
It's
woman,
rewarding, yeah.
on lots of dating sites, and then she decided when she looked at who she was essentially in her we call it authentic code or essential code. When she broke it down to what her values were, she was like, "Why am I chasing men? I need to spend more time with my family." That's a win. That's a huge win to choose that.
Yeah.
You know, we make choices all day long. We just don't always know what's driving them. And when you can find out what your values are and who you are at your core, then it's so much easier to make choices.
Absolutely. That sounded super impressive. I mean, shout out, congratulations to all those women.
Oh, it was awesome.
That is super impressive. Let me ask you real quick though: is there an end to life coaching, or does it kind of all come down to, once again, the individual?
It comes down to the individual. Most of my clients, after they do the 12 weeks, they're in a good place.
Okay.
They're like, I know how to filter things through my life now. Occasionally, I'll have somebody come back. I also do the oracle cards. So if I do one-on-one with somebody, they get an oracle card reading with each session. They'll come back and say, I need an oracle card reading. Or I just want to go over my goals and help me go through my excuses and my limiting beliefs. And then we can pick and choose, and then we can find an old pattern. I had one woman, the woman who did her fitness business. She's like, how do I grow this business? I'm going to age out. There's an age relevance thing. And so I simply said to her, who in your life that was a woman had a problem with their age? And she said, do you know, I didn't know my mom's age. I said, that impacted you. You grew up in that environment. I said, what I want you to do is when you go to the gym, I want you to find your women your age and older, and I want you to approach them and say, what drove you to come here today?
Yeah, my mother was 39 for like my entire youth. I'm just going to throw that out there. So when people ask me my age, I have no problem telling them I'm 45 years old.
Yeah, right. It either drives you to be completely different from how you were raised, or it drives you to be exactly the same.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very open with people about my age too, but it might be different because, maybe it's different me being a male and female. You know what I'm saying? But
I mean, it shouldn't be, but it is in society. People,
Sure.
You don't ask a woman their age. Why? Why not?
Yeah, don't ask your woman her age, but I can ask her how much she spends on Botox. You know what I mean?
I've insulted people with that. The guessing game, and I was nice, and I guessed 5 years younger, and she was 10 years younger than what I said, and she was so insulted. But yeah, she looked older than me. To me, don't ask me. That's
I'm not good at it either.
You get yourself in trouble.
That's why I'm so open about mine, because I do look very young, for my age. I mean, some would still say that I am young at the current age that I am, but I mean, I will be turning, I believe, 39 this year. So I'm a little nervous about 40, but I mean, I guess I'm still young. But I mean,
40 is the new 20.
100%.
That's what they say. So, but let's move on real quick. Cristin, is there anyone that you've dealt with when coaching that has affected you more, or maybe impacted you a little deeper than any others?
Do you mean in a positive way or in a negative way? Because I can go either way.
I mean, let's hit both. Okay. Let's do a positive and then maybe a negative.
Let's do the negative first. It's always good to end in a positive.
Okay, good call.
So I am certainly not a perfect human. I had my upbringing. I have my issues, my belief systems, my core wounds. My mom, and I say this in the nicest of ways, my mom was a narcissist and a pathological liar. I now know that narcissists and pathological liars, so we all grow up in an environment and we have to survive it, right? So codependents tend to be, their inner child tends to be more of a people pleaser, more of a quiet, more of a cower kind of a thing. And then you have the other side of the coin, which is they didn't get their needs met, which is the same as somebody who becomes a codependent, but they didn't get their needs met. So they learn to lie, cheat, steal, and manipulate to get their needs met. So when you're looking at a narcissist, try to picture them as an 8-year-old and you'll see them in a different light. They didn't get their needs met, bottom line. So because I was raised in that environment, I then married into that environment. I'm no longer married. I then dated post my marriage into that environment. because that's what my central nervous system, that's what my pattern was comfortable with. It's what was familiar. Until I got to a point where I was like, okay, the relationships got shorter and shorter. I started to realize the pattern. So then I noticed it in friendships, right? And then I noticed it even in the dogs that I choose to bring home. Like I brought home a 139-pound rescue dog, Great Dane, and I go to one of my first sessions with the trainer, and he goes, they're big narcissists, right? I go, that's my type, right? So it was a pattern for me. So when I recognize that, when I recognize manipulation in people, when they tell me that they didn't do the homework because of this excuse, this excuse, this excuse, this excuse, it starts to trigger me. And I'm like, well, do you want the work or don't you? Do you want to make change? Then that's really hard for me. Or when I see inconsistencies, when people say that they're one thing, and then I see into their lives, into their home, into their relationships, and I'm like, you say one thing, but you're doing a completely different thing. That inconsistency, it resonates in my soul, and I have a hard time with it. So I back off. Not only do I put up the boundary, but sometimes I hold that boundary up with two hands. So that's my character flaw, 100%. So when I see people who sign up for coaching, they really want to make a change, but then they'll tell you that they're perfect just the way they are. Or they're not going to, random thing. I'm not going to go on social media. I'm going to cut myself off of social media for 3 months. And then they're consistently on social media every single day. And I'm like, it just hits me like... Yeah. You're lying to yourself. Like, how are you going to... You're manipulating yourself. You're trying to manipulate a situation to make your truth the right thing for you. So that is hard for me. I find that to be not very coachable. And I'm not trying to turn everybody into me by any means. But if you come to me, it's because you want to change things because things aren't working for you. And if you're repelling people and I see it, I'm going to tell you. And sometimes that's hard for people to hear.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part of coaching.
Right. I think that's important though, right? For people to hear. I mean, I know that maybe some people take offense to that, but I mean, when your flaws are pointed out, or I mean, I don't even know if that's the correct word, flaws, but when something is pointed out to you by a friend or a stranger, I mean, someone who's not a close member, it hits you, a certain way. So,
and the more truthful it is, the more defensive people become.
Yeah, that's the trigger, right?
Yeah,
that's the trigger. But the trigger shows you the pattern, and the pattern is what saves you.
Myself, like so many times, I've like caught myself doing that.
Yeah, it's human nature.
Yeah.
So would that be like one of the challenges that you face with your clients? Have there been any other challenges that you've?
Nothing that like really set me off, but when I've had people, if you're in a group setting versus an individual setting, people are going to share things. They're going to be vulnerable, and that's not to leave the room. Right.
I think
the Zoom meeting, nothing. Right. I had to clarify that more than once.
You would think that would be tough. Common sense almost in an environment.
It is, but if somebody's a little bit manipulative, right, or they have, some of these issues where their needs weren't met as a child, sometimes that's how they get attention. But the two people that I've had issue with, and I say issue with, the two people that had to address something that was going on,
right.
Both of them came back to me afterwards and were like, you know what? Thank you for that. So it does work out in the end.
Yeah, that was handled correctly. Confidentiality in things regarding to that is super important. I feel like that's almost part of the therapy.
Yeah. So, I think in AA, like it's unwritten, like everybody has the same exact issue, right?
Yes.
So the confidentiality is sort of like, I don't want you talking about my stuff and I'm not going to talk about yours.
Right.
But in the coaching, there's a wide array of the upbringings that people have had. I mean, you do share in AA, so that could be a confidentiality thing. But in this, it's sort of like, we give examples of things in our lives and we don't want that being shared.
Right. Totally understandable.
Yeah.
How would you respond to someone who would present the question, what can a life coach do for me?
Yeah. So I know for myself personally, it was to get rid of the limits, get rid of my excuses.
Okay.
So if you're not living the life that you want to be living, whether it's financially, whether it's your mindset, whether you're having depression, anxiety, I'm not saying that medication doesn't work and that that's not a good thing to pursue, but there's some conflicting things going on in your brain that can create those situations for you. If you are having fitness, image, body image stuff going on, your passions, your hobbies. So many of us, as we go into adulthood, we give those things up. We lose our creativity and our playfulness because we're not doing those things because of other life responsibilities.
Yeah.
The biggest complaints are people say, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time. And I say, well, I want a time journal and I want a money journal. I want to know where you're spending it.
I started one of those this year because I have the same issue.
Yeah.
A money journal?
Yeah, like a budget money journal type.
Yeah.
Because like I need to know like where's my money going. I feel like I'm spending outside of my means, so I'm just trying to figure out what I'm spending it on.
Yeah, it's just like a calorie tracker. People are like, I eat well, and then you put them on a calorie tracker, and they're like, oh, I didn't realize that a soda and 2 Starbucks a day are 1,000 calories. And you're like, yes, that's why you track these things.
Yeah, and sometimes I mean I don't know, but visibly being able to see things as simple as words or something on a piece of paper. I mean I talk about it all the time. In my profession, I'm in the construction business. We build houses. When dealing with certain things, sometimes pictures are the easiest. I mean, take it how you want, you know what I'm saying? But being able to visually see something is very beneficial as opposed to just hearing, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Cristin, let me ask you real quick, what are the tools and techniques used that may be considered that create good life coaches?
Yeah, so my first couple of weeks, we do what's called Essential Code. I have people do at least 5 personality tests, and then I ask them probably close to another 100 questions. So the brain is going. The prefrontal cortex is going, right? The logical brain, for them to come up with these answers. And we filter it down into their Essential Code, which can be anywhere from 1 word, most people go way over 1, to like 50 words, which help to define you. Right? And a lot of people have similar words, kind, compassionate, right? But some people throw in words like badass, right? And you go, ooh, now I know a little something about you, right? Some people, family will come up over and over and over again. Some people, it's luxury. Some people, it's vacation. There are certain words that come up over and over and over again. Creativity. And it gives us a picture of who they are so they can filter things in their life through there. The next thing we do is we go through the brain, the body, the mind, and the central nervous system, because so many people don't understand how that works. How when you have a thought, if it goes into your emotional brain, you start dumping chemicals. You start dumping adrenaline and cortisol. And that helps you fight and flight and flee and fawn and all of those things, freeze even. It doesn't help you think, right? So we want to teach people what the difference, the sensations in their body are, because most of the time your body is sensing something through your sight, your hearing, your smell, your taste, or your bodily sensations. That's how it knows something's wrong. That's your body's smoke detector. Now your brain says, oh, the smoke detector went off. The house must be on fire, when it might just be a piece of toast, right? So I teach people about that so they start to learn their body sensations, because most of the information goes from your body to your brain. Only 20% of it goes from your brain to your body, and many people are confused about that. So we go through that. Then we go through flow state exercises, which is calming your central nervous system. Your central nervous system, the familiarity is in your childhood and your traumatic experiences. So we go through this flow state exercises, which consist of meditation, EFT tapping, journaling, those kinds of things, to calm your central nervous system, to get it regulated. We don't want you calm all the time because you'd be falling asleep.
Right.
But we want it regulated so that you can tell when things are off. We ride the waves of life, so we want to be able to have that right surfboard, have those good conditions to do that.
Absolutely.
Then we do detox and delegate, because once you know who you are, now you can see the things that you don't really need in your life. right? If health and fitness and bone health came up in your essential code, you're probably going to be like, oh, Pepsi doesn't jive with that, right? So now we know to get that out of your life because it's not good for your bones. And it may be people, it may be tasks that you do. One of the things I put in Detox and Delegate, simply paper plates. If you're spending a whole lot of time and energy over the dishwasher in your life, whether you're the dishwasher and you got to wash all the things, or loading the dishwasher, somebody's not doing it right, buy some paper plates. They're already out there in the store. I know you're feeling like you cut down a tree, but maybe that will save your weekly life. You will feel so much better. You will have created some time in your life. It might only be 15 minutes, 20 minutes, but that could be when you're on the treadmill getting yourself healthy, or when you're meal prepping the next day. And then we go into Hour of Power, which is the hour that you give yourself every day towards your goals. And the hour can be divided up into as many segments as you need. I try to get people to start with one goal, and then 30 days in, then pick up a second goal, because the first one starts to get integrated. It starts to get faster and easier. So for some people, it's reading and meditating and working out and meal prep, if that's in alignment with their goals. For other people, it's completely different things. It's working on their resume. It's working on the book that they've been wanting to write. It's working on their website for their fitness business. So it's all individual depending upon what somebody wants to do, but Hour and Power and goals kind of go hand in hand.
Nice.
How do you help clients set and achieve their goals?
So all the other things are important. The essential code is the part that people love the most, and it helps people decide what's really important to them. Because a lot of us are spending time on things that aren't important to us. We're spending money, we're spending energy, we're spending thoughts. So to really fine-tune that, who you are and what you want to achieve in life, it really helps you get rid of the other stuff. So that's the thing that people like the most when they start to really look at that.
You know, I mean, any type of coach, in life, sports coaches, life coaches, gym coaches, what have you, they don't always connect with the players or individuals, et cetera, whoever they're coaching. How do you go about dealing on which clients that you'll be able to connect with? Do you just, take on that challenge and you are open and willing to accept anybody that wants help?
I'm pretty much open and willing to accept anybody.
Okay.
But there's definitely some science behind how people hear things. So if I said to you, if I tell you, oh my God, Josh, you can totally do it. You can totally do it. I totally believe in you. Mm-hmm. Or you can't do that. There's no way you can do that. Which resonates more for you?
The first.
See, I'm the second.
I'm the second. Tell me I can't do it, and I will show you all day long how I can.
Hell yeah.
So that little bit of information is important, right? You'll see athletes, right, star athletes who were raised in poverty, no dad in the household, and they resonate with a coach who screams at them, right? And that may be part of their childhood. If they had a single mom, she might have been screaming at them. That's how they hear the information.
It's only when my kids listen.
Yeah. So they say that there's like between 7 and 12 vibrations that people hear. And so for me, if you tell me I can't do it, I'm going to show you all day long that I can. My mom was, like I said, she was a narcissist and a pathological liar. She was a little bit bitter. Mm-hmm. So if you talk to me in a bitter tone, that's what I respond to. Now, some people, they'll respond to the exact opposite of how they were raised. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's spot on. It's spot on. If you're bitter with me, I'm going to show you.
What about you, Angela?
I can be a bitch. But it's all about the approach. Like, it's how somebody approaches me. If you approach me in such a manner, I'm going to be like really nasty.
Yeah.
That's fair.
It's also natural. Like, if you're talking to someone and you feel like they're not hearing you, you start getting louder.
Yes.
See, I shut up.
Yeah.
I'll just stop talking. Like, altogether. Like, I've had that in situations where if I'm not being heard, why am I wasting my voice? Why am I wasting my energy? Like, that's...
Yeah, depends on who it is, right?
Yeah. Guess that's true, too.
All right. We're going to take a quick break soon, but Angela, is there anything else that you'd like to ask Cristin?
Yeah, what are some of the common challenges that people face when they're trying to make positive changes in their lives?
A lot of it is belief systems. and core wounds. So belief systems are repeated thoughts that you always have. 80% of the thoughts that we have are negative. It's our brain's way to keep us alive. It's to keep us safe. 85% of those negative thoughts are repetitive, and 97% of them never come true. Or if they do, it's not nearly as bad as you thought it was going to be.
That's true.
So once you tell people that, they go, just like you guys just did, oh. Yeah. They have that moment. Then core wounds are repeated feelings. So core wounds can be anything from abandonment to like specific words. For me, my mom used to call me a slob. So that's a core wound word for me. If I think somebody's going to think I'm dirty, I'll cringe, right? Like I'm a hairdresser primarily. That's my main job. Like if I go out in public, I usually have my hands hidden because my nails are probably tinted with hair color, or I'll have like hair splinters under my nails. So I always have because I don't want people to think I'm dirty, because it's an old core wound. It's an old feeling word for me. So getting people to understand that those belief systems, a basic belief system, Groundhog's Day. You will have people around you go, did the groundhog see his shadow? He's a rodent and he doesn't predict the weather. Right? Soda brands, tomato brands, like tomato sauce brands. My grandmother's Italian. There's only 2 DeRosa tomatoes. If you don't buy those, there's something wrong with you. There's a whole wall of choices, but I believe, because somebody told me, it's a repeated thing that was said to me over the years, that's the tomato sauce brand I pick up. Cigarettes. You could go on and on and on about different things. Valentine's Day. How many people are depressed over Valentine's Day? The first Valentine, before he was a saint, Valentine was jailed. He sent a note to his jailer's daughter to manipulate her to try to get her father to set him free. People cry on Valentine's Day because they're lonely. Get a pen pal in the jail. That's what Valentine was.
It's funny.
Huh. I never knew that.
Yeah. Me neither.
So there's lots of things that we automatically believe that aren't true. You know, girls should only be secretaries, nurses, kindergarten teachers.
They shouldn't play sports.
They shouldn't play sports. They shouldn't get dirty. They should be seen and not heard. There are all of these things that they just got repeated, so we just naturally believe them. So once you start peeling back that onion, people go, oh, that's not true.
But that would be difficult, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but to break that pattern or that way of thinking, if that's what you have been conditioned to your entire life, to, you know, like I said, to try to twist that. I mean, I don't know if I could.
That's why those patterns sometimes aren't broken for generations to come. Like I tell my kids now, like, I'm not going to be able to fix this. It might be on you to break these patterns.
Yeah.
And they're young, so I kind of feel bad about saying that, but
that's the journey of life.
And like I tell them, like, this might be on you. Like if I can't break the pattern, then you need to do it with your kids.
Yeah.
So.
What you just said, this is kind of a sidetrack, but I don't know why too, because I mean I always see it, but I noticed it today with what you just said, journey of life. I have that tattooed on my arm. I got that many years ago when I was going through a certain situation. So I thought, and it's kind of weird today because today when I was, you know, getting out of the shower and whatnot and drying off, like I kind of noticed it. I mean, like I said, I notice all my stuff all the time, but that one kind of
popped out.
So that was a little that just caught me off guard when you said that.
Yeah, because you're not the same person you were last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, right? And a lot of that is unraveling belief systems. You just didn't realize you were doing it at the time.
Right on. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue to hear from Cristin as we continue to discuss life coaching, hear a little about BODi coaching, oracle card reading, and Reiki. So make sure you come back with us right here on the It's All Relative podcast.
I'm in the game now, shit's the same now, explode next mode, I'm the same how, don't say you know me, just say you did, when you see me sliding off to another crib, boom, in the game now, I'm the same how, the rap game will never be the same now, don't say you know me, just say you did, when you hear why yo, say that's that shit.
Welcome back to It's All Relative. Still with us in studio, Cristin Roe. So, Cristin, we don't all have good days. Negative energy hits harder on certain days for whatever reason. When you face the more difficult days, are you using the methods you teach to your clients, or are you approaching it differently?
Absolutely. I use the methods. I will go through my essential code, remind myself who the hell I am, and go through my negative thoughts, sit with my feelings. Like I said, I do work with a therapist as well. So I do that with her as well. But yeah, I do. I try to shoot for, at least 51% of my highest self energy, and really recognize when I'm swirling around my ego energy of judgment and criticism and lack. I try to really recognize that. I try to give it a name so that then I can work with it. If it's something big, it's a little harder, for sure. If it's something deep, it takes a while. Sometimes you have to sit with something for a day or 2 days or a week to let it really fully come up and process it. So yeah, there's definitely hard stuff when you're dealing with trying to process things in your life.
Now, I'm sure that you deal with or come across people who don't believe, that life coaching is necessary or beneficial. What would your response be to those opinions or people?
It all depends. Like, if it's not for you, it's not for you. That's cool. There are some people that will say that it's not for them, and I'll say, well, I'll pull the Dr. Phil question. How's that working for you? Mm-hmm. If you're not getting what you want in life, is it everybody else's fault? Because that's ego energy, and it'll keep you in the same place. But if you start to take accountability for what you can change in your life, you can have a totally different life.
Now, let me ask you real quick. This question may be not have anything to do with this, but any form of energy, bottled up energy, whether it be, whatever it is, that's not healthy, correct? Right? That's not safe, maybe. And is what you deal with, does that touch on that, or is that more of kind of like a therapy, psychiatry thing?
So it again, it depends. Like, if you have joy, that's awesome.
Right.
If you're in despair, that's a completely different animal. And it's hard to get from despair to joy. There are some techniques that you can do that you can start to raise your vibration, raise your energy bit by bit. But if you really can't get out of the despair, that's not a life coach issue. That's a therapy issue. Okay. If you have severe trauma, if you're dealing with grief over the loss of a loved one, that's not necessarily where coaching happens. Coaching is more of your day-to-day decisions. It's not your deep-rooted stuff.
Okay. What are your strengths and talents that make you the life coach that you are?
So I'm considered very intuitive, very in tune with people. Mm-hmm. And because of where I came from, I was a very depressed and anxious person, so I can relate to that stuff. So I have lots of different methods that I try to tap into people's energy and see what's going on for them. I'll be reading a book. I just happened to me the other day, and there was a passage, and I was like, she needs to hear this today. And I recorded it, did a little voice memo, and sent it to her. And she's like, how did you know that? I'm like, I don't know. I just knew. I do an oracle card every day on Facebook and Instagram, and I read the card, and then whatever comes to me, I do it first thing in the morning, so I'm half asleep. That's called theta state, and it's a state of hypnosis. And I just read the card. I read, if there's a little booklet that goes with it, I read the little booklet, and then whatever comes to my mind. And every day, somebody will say to me, that card was for me. And sometimes I'm not even feeling it. It doesn't mean anything to me necessarily, but something will come to my mind. So the intuition, I think, is what sets me apart.
So what exactly is an oracle card?
So my definition of an oracle card is they're positively affirming cards, where your tarot cards, love them, they're amazing, but they have a death card. And even though death just means the end of something and the beginning of something else, people hear death and they go, oh.
Yeah, the death card in the tarot is not.
Yeah, and I find, and God bless the people that do tarot cards, like they do amazing stuff, but they sort of create a story around the card. Like the card will have a meaning, and they'll kind of try to relate it to what's going on for you. Oracles are totally different. They may just have one word, but it's always like a positively affirming word. It'll be like passion. And that could mean anything to you. Sometimes they'll have a little description, but there's no death cards in Oracle. It's all about raising your vibration. It's all about tuning into what's going on for you. I'm trying to remember what my card today was, and I can't remember because, like I said, I do it when I'm half asleep. So most of the time, I don't even remember them. People will reach out to me afterwards, and I'm like, I don't even remember what I did today, but thanks for letting me know it resonated for you.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna ask you. We were gonna cover these oracle cards. You have mentioned them a few times, and I was gonna ask you if you knew or remembered what today's oracle card was. I did pull it up real quick, and if you don't mind, I mean, I will read.
Awesome.
Today's oracle card. I don't know if it's the full thing, so you can tell me to stop whenever. But it says, today's card, be proud. Today you get to state your wins. So often we make ourselves small and diminish ourselves. We focus on what's not going right, isn't perfect, or fear of looking proud because it isn't perceived as good to do that, bragging. On Mel Robbins' recent podcast, should I continue?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. On Mel Robbins' recent podcast, she spoke of day 19 being, quote, quitter's day. That's the day where people give up on a goal because they aren't seeing the full result they want. What they aren't doing is marking their progress, expanding their consciousness that is possible, and making unfair and impossible comparisons. What aligned action steps have you achieved today? Write them down. Put them in a special journal or a wins jar. Share them with a supportive friend or group. Find others on the same journey. And if you quit yesterday, know today is a whole new day to make yourself proud. So that was today's
Card of the day.
oracle card, and I like it. Angela,
Yeah, that was good.
you like it?
And that's on your web.
Yes, I do a card a day, and I do also do oracle card readings for people. It can be anywhere from 9 to 25 cards. I always say this. I start with, my intention is, what do you need to see, hear, feel, or know today? And I insist on this statement always. I am not your psychic. I'm not your medium. You are. Whatever you are supposed to hear is what you will hear. If I hear anything, then I will let you know what I've heard, but I don't say, go get divorced. Go get a dog. That's not what I do. Mm-hmm. You hear what you're supposed to hear. And generally people say, that's what I needed to hear. And I just leave it at that.
I'm going to have to check them out now.
Yeah, it's kind of...
I like tarot cards. I'm a tarot card.
It's kind of cool how, like, these oracle cards, how they can relate so often to so many different people in whatever stage or whatever they're going through at that time or throughout the day. And
it's interesting. You don't know the waves that you're making in the world until, like, you're out in the world. Not everybody puts the little thumbs up, not everybody puts a little heart on it. Some people will reach out to me in Messenger. Other times I'll just be out in public and people will say, your card means so much to me every day. I look for it every day. And I'm just like, I had no idea how far out it was going.
That's got to be so rewarding, though.
It's so rewarding because, like I said, I'm half asleep. I couldn't remember what I wrote today. And
that was really good then.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else about the oracle cards?
No, I think that's it for now.
All right. I just want to quickly get back to life coaching. Clients that you currently deal with, and ones that you may have had in the past, do they all have similar goals and challenges that they, are or have tried to overcome, or the variety is so broad,
The common themes of belief systems and core wounds, they kind of go through everybody.
Okay.
And there are some generalizations, abandonment, didn't feel seen and heard, their needs didn't feel like they didn't feel like their needs mattered. Some of those are common threads.
Okay.
But it is interesting as I go through the questions, like one of the questions I ask is, if somebody gave you $100 and a day off, what would you do with it? And then I say, what if somebody gave you $1 billion? What would you do with your time? And it's interesting because some people, they go, I've just never thought about that. And other people are like, you see their face light up and they're like, I see myself at a desk in a big, beautiful house in the upstairs overlooking the water, and I'm writing checks, philanthropic checks to people who deserve it, who want a new start. And I'm like, whoa, like, wow, like I see it too. Like I see you doing that. So it's very interesting. But if you ask somebody what's their favorite part of their body, crickets. And then I'll go into, what about your heart? Your heart is sitting in your chest. It's pumping, oxygen-rich blood. It's taking the nutrients throughout your body. They're like, never really thought of it that way. Or I'll say, how about your intuition or your highest self? Like, isn't that beautiful? So it's interesting. There's some things that are kind of common, and then other things people blow my mind with the stuff that they say.
All right.
Is there like a certain type of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a type of person that goes to life coaching more, like middle-aged single women, or
definitely middle-aged. I would love to work with kids, because I feel like if they knew this stuff sooner, how different life could be. But I don't know, I don't know enough about child psychology to know like what they're ready to absorb.
right? Yeah.
But I do know that so many of our issues as adults come from our childhood. So it'd be really cool if you could step in a whole lot earlier. I would love to do that. I just haven't made that happen yet.
I was gonna say that might be a future endeavor.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you should look into.
That's the key. I think even with in schooling systems and whatnot, they've tried to take that approach too. I mean, it makes sense if you can get to a child, earlier. I mean, I don't want that to sound bad,
No,
but if you can somehow, get them thinking a certain way early, it could avoid.
What happens?
Yeah,
every
as
day.
individuals, not, when I do a group coaching session, everybody's still an individual. It's not like they're all taking the same path.
Right.
So we're all individuals. We all have this unique, purpose on this earth. So it would be really cool if kids could understand this sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they would make better adults if they could, for sure.
Yeah. Just knowing what, you don't have to be like your brother. You don't have to be like your sister. You're smart in a different way. Right? I have two kids. One is extremely book smart, just graduated from Yale, top of her class. And then my son's a plumber. Doesn't make him any less smart. I don't want my daughter fixing my faucets.
Right.
Like, I want the one who knows that specific skill set.
That's impressive. Yeah, I mean, you should be proud, right? Of
She
both.
came from a family where my family, I'm the only one of the three kids that graduated high school.
Mm-hmm.
So for my daughter to get to Yale and Harvard was, who the hell are you?
Right.
It was a lot of fun to go through that with her. As a
I'm
matter of
sure.
fact, when Harvard reached out to her and said, we didn't get your FAFSA, she came to me and said, hey, Mom, did you not? And I said, oh, you were serious about Harvard? Are you kidding me?
That's impressive.
Yeah, so.
Now, Cristin, you're not just, like we mentioned, a life coach, but you are also a BODi coach. What is that? Or can you kind of elaborate a little on that?
The body work that I do is primarily Reiki.
Okay, yes.
So that's the body work that I do. I'm not a fitness coach. I'm not a nutrition coach. I know a lot about those things, but I send those off to other people that I know, or really that's their focus. So yeah, I do Reiki. I do energy work.
Right now, I am willing to bet good money that the majority of our listeners have no idea what Reiki is. Let me just ask real quick, Angela, do you know what Reiki is?
I'm probably going to sound like an idiot, but I was under the impression that Reiki was a practice of healing energy through the hands. So I didn't have a class, but when I was working at the veterinarian office, we had a Reiki specialist come in as like one of the luncheons and teach us how to calm the animal down using the energy from your hands. So, am I close?
Yes.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
That was, yeah. I mean, if there's anything else to elaborate, Cristin, please do so. I mean, let me interject real quick. It is, I believe, a practice from Japan.
Yes, Usui Reiki, is what I practice.
Okay.
So basically, you're a conduit for the energy to come through you. You go through a series of attunements, depending upon whether you're a Reiki 1, Reiki 2, or a Reiki Master. I'm a Reiki Master. So I went through 3 different sets of attunements where you feel the energy light pass through you. You put your hands over. Some people put their hands directly on. Some people use crystals and various different things to get the person into a calm state. And you literally you go over their chakras, their energy centers in their body that are recognized in a lot of medical practices that are ancient. And you feel the energy. You feel if it's stagnant or it's cold or it's not moving. And the different energy centers are correlated with different emotions. So your third eye has to do with your intuition. Your throat has to do with your ability to speak up and your ability to listen. Your heart chakra has to do with your gratitude and your joy and grief, the opposite emotions. Your solar plexus has to do with your courage and confidence and willingness to do things. Your sacral chakra around your belly button, that's your playfulness and creativity. Your root chakra is your safety, security, nurturing, birthing of new ideas. So people will have different stagnations in different areas of their body, and you basically get those energy centers swirling again, remove the blockages, and dispense it out of their feet. You kind of pull it out of their feet so that they feel better afterwards. It's a very relaxing thing. Some people will actually start to cry. They'll have an emotional reaction as you're working on them. They'll see different things. They'll feel different things. So we kind of write notes as we're, going through the body. Am I going to cure your, torn rotator cuff? No, it's an energy healing. Sometimes you have a block. A lot of people that have different diseases within the body, it's correlated to different things, like root chakra. People who have like I have gut issues, right? So there's that. There's sexually transmitted diseases. There's endometriosis, things like that. Many of those people had childhoods where they didn't have safety, security, nurturing, or they've had a trauma to that area. So you can kind of get the energy moving in that area to alleviate it to a certain extent.
How long does that process take when you're doing that? I mean,
probably 45 minutes to an hour, because I ask questions first and get them comfortable. They're on a massage table.
Interesting. I never knew anything about any of this before this evening, so
Comes really good, and it comes in handy when you're working with animals.
Yeah, and some animals don't like it. Other animals love it. Like my dog loves it. That's how I made contact with him when he was in the shelter. I started to do Reiki, and he came right to me.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to be wrapping it up soon. Angela, is there anything else that you would like to ask Cristin?
Let's see. What advice would you have for somebody considering working with a life coach for the first time?
Be open. Be open. If things were really working for you, the way you're living your life, then you don't need a life coach. If you keep having the same issues over and over and over again, financially, with your fitness, body, and image, with your passions and mindset, consider it. Talk to somebody, see if it's a good fit for you. I always do a free consultation with people, so I can, they can ask me questions, and I can give them an idea of what I can offer them.
And then my last question is, what is your definition of success?
Success, I always say to my kids, let happiness be your compass. There should be a contentment in your life. That to me is success. Some people, it's lots of zeros in their bank account. That doesn't appeal to me. I express to people, find your expanders of consciousness, things that people who show you that things are possible. The experience I had when I was pregnant with my son, I was 20 weeks pregnant, and they told me that he had a club foot based on an ultrasound. I didn't know what that was. But somehow I knew to find out who else had a club foot. And I found out that Christy Yamaguchi, the gold medal figure skater, had bilateral 2 club feet. And here she was, an Olympic gold medal winner. That's pretty awesome. So to me, that was something somehow innately I knew how to do. That to me is success, when you can find those things. So my expanders are Betty White, Love Betty White because she was
Who doesn't?
funny, animal lover, supported your veterans. Like I do a lot of fundraising for the local veterans. Mother Teresa, right? Full-blown compassion wasn't about money for her. Wealth for her wasn't money. It was making sure that people felt cared for. And my third expander, that's a celebrity expander, is Princess Diana. Calm, cool, collected. She had a lot of crap going on in her life, but somehow she came across as like her nervous system was spot on, very regulated. So those are my expanders. To me, that's success. If I can be like those people, that I've achieved what I've wanted to achieve in this life.
Nice.
Well, Cristin, I love the positive energy, the positive vibes. Thanks again for agreeing to come on.
Yes,
It's All
thank you.
Relative. We greatly appreciate it.
Total honor.
One last question for you. Is there someone in your life's Rolodex that you would recommend to be on It's All Relative?
Ooh, I have so many people. A couple of my passions in life are animal rescue, the local veterans, and the operations that go on, and music. Anything music. I am out dancing and carousing with my music friends every weekend. So I could name a whole bunch of musicians. I could name the Vet to Vet organization, who is fantastic in Dutchess County, supplying our local veterans with above and beyond things like gyms and mental health. A bariatric chamber. So there's so many people that I could recommend. I could give you a laundry list.
Nice. Give us one name of the first person that comes to mind. Just drop a name.
Drop a name.
I will say though too that these recommendations that we do get, it's not necessarily that it'll happen, but we always are open to take any recommendation. So,
I would definitely say, her name just went right out of my head. Alyssa Carrion. She is the Vet to Vet coordinator locally.
All right, awesome. Now, is there anyone or anything that you would like to plug or shout out or?
I just would like to commend anybody who's willing to take the journey to change their life. We're given one life, and it's a beautiful thing when you can lay your head in the pillow at night and say, today was a good day. I'm doing what my purpose is. For me, I didn't know what my purpose was for a very long time, and now it's so solid. And at the end of every day, I can list 10 gratitudes for the day that I've had, that I got to experience with people trying to grow in their lives. So find your purpose.
That's awesome. What are some of your social media accounts in case listeners would like to contact you?
All right. So Facebook, I'm Cristin Roe. It's spelled Cristin, and the last name is Roe, Roe. Instagram is the same, Cristin Roe. And I do take messenger messages from there. And I do have a website, www.becomingdaffodilslifecoaching.com.
Awesome. I should ask too real quick. I'm sorry. Are you currently open and taking any new
Yes.
clients?
So individual clients I'm open for. Group sessions, they start every 12 weeks.
Okay. Angela, your social media accounts.
You can find me on Instagram, randomange78. And then you can find the show on Instagram at its_all_relative_podcast.
And you guys can always find me at Josh_Toth3. That's my Instagram, and my Facebook is Joshua Toth. Big shout out to Stellar Sound and Media and the show's editor, Jackson Wallace.
Also, a huge shout out to Timber Design and Build. If you're looking for home renovations, improvements, additions, and clean quality work, contact Chris Roe or Jeff Wakeman on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or any social media platform that you use. Also, don't forget to subscribe and follow It's All Relative on Apple Podcasts, Spotify for podcasters, YouTube and YouTube Music, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. If you're using Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please be sure to comment and leave a 5-star rating. It helps us out when you comment. I do say that every week, but we'd love to hear from you. So comment. It gives us the feedback on what you want to hear, and we just want to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Comment.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but absolutely, those comments, the fan interaction, it helps us out. It helps the show out. Especially if you're using Apple or Spotify, please take a few seconds. Just click the 5-star rating. Leave a quick review. For those of you who have, we see you and we love you, and we greatly appreciate you as well.
Also, if you wanted to reach out on Instagram, if you want to be a guest on the show, if you have a specific topic that you want us to talk about or find more information about, you can leave a message, a comment, anything.
All right, that's a wrap. Cristin, thanks again.
Thank you so much,
Cristin.
guys.
All right, everyone, stay safe, stay kind, stay proud and powerful, and we'll see everyone soon.